Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hi and welcome to The Tradie Show. I'm Andy and this is my wife Angela, and today we're going to talk about how to find, hire and retain the best possible staff.
Yes, really great subjects this one, considering most tradies we speak to, if you said to them, what exactly do you want to do when you start your trade business, they all say, well, I want my own trade business and I want to get it to a point where I can actually take some holidays off and actually know that I can make money. Well, the only way you can do that is if you have staff, right? You need people. So you need to know how to do that.
Yeah, you do. I think we all start our own business and we think to ourselves, let's jump in a truck and some tools and off we go. But we're going to be our own boss and we make our own rules, and the business isn't going to dictate me. I'm going to have this much holidays and this much time off. But sometimes that doesn't happen that way and we get a bit bogged down within the business. Now, by having staff, and sometimes people need to let go a little bit to bring staff in to help them with the process. And the thing is, a lot of people have a lot of trouble getting good staff.
Yeah, that's right. The thing is, most tradies find themselves really under the pump. So, you know, they may start their business on their own and they're just a one-man show. And when they start actually saying to themselves, I'm so busy, I really need help, I just need to employ another person, that they get to a point that they just procrastinate about making that decision because they've got no idea where to go to try and find the people. They don't really have any understanding about what like that hiring process or that interview process looks like. And they certainly have no idea about kind of the legality side of employment and what to do to help motivate or retain, the staff member. So they just get to a point that they just go, oh, it's all too hard. And then they just go, oh, you know what? I've just got to go do something. I've got to go employ a staff member. So they leave their run really late. They like going shopping, I don't know, Christmas sales, right? Or any sale. And if you go last, like at the end, because you leave your run late, what happens? You get left with the dregs. Like, you get left with the crap that's sitting on the shelf. Like, that's not a good place to be. So it's not good to procrastinate. It's not good to go, oh, very last minute, I'm just going to go employ someone because I need a new licensed tradie to come and work with me, or kind of anyone. And then what happens? Then you just literally employ the first person that comes along because you're so flat chat that you just go, anyone will do. It doesn't make any difference who that person is. I just need hands. I just need a help. But the cowboy is not a good idea. And then they get stuck, working in the business because then they don't ever let them go either.
Yeah, this happens constantly, guys. And I know people listening today are nodding their head and saying, yes,
going,
that happens.
Me.
It's happened to all of us. But we get to a point we're so busy that we don't have time to really go through the process and organise the right way. And in the end, we're just so desperate and we need someone now, and we just got to grab anyone. And as the photo says, you get the cowboy in that just isn't right, but you know what? I just need someone. I was talking with a builder actually, and he was saying, I just can't get good staff. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, let me know. He goes, I've had a year full of work. And he said, I'm just struggling. I knew that coming up to September, I was going to be the busiest I've ever been. And I said, so what did you do? How did you find these staff? And I said, where did you start looking? He goes, well, I threw it out in the paper. I said, when? He said, September. And I'm like, well, what if you knew in like March that you needed these staff, why didn't you start advertising then, getting the feelers out there? Why didn't you start trying to find the right guys? Because I think everyone's in the mentality of, a lot of tradies are in that mentality of just finding the guy down the road, meeting someone at the pub, a mate of a mate. And that's the way that I suppose in the past they did it a lot to keep it more of a local environment. But now with technology and the way everything is, you've got a bigger pool for staff, and people are happy to travel half an hour to a job. So you've got a whole area you can now target. You don't just need to be in your local area. So it's about advertising at the right time, making sure that you're giving yourself enough time, and obviously you will go into it now about how much, what you need to do to get the best possible staff.
Yeah, so if you want to find, hire and retain the best possible staff, we need to first have a look at this little model here called the Loyal Team Builder. So, it's really important for you with respect to scale, right? So if you want to scale your business, this is why this is so important, because you can't do this without people, because this is ultimately going to provide you the freedom that you want, which is what you said at the very beginning that you desired most, was to actually be able to take some holidays and have some time
And
off.
I think most tradies, everyone wants money and we all want money, let's face it. But at the end of the day, it's really majority of the tradies and the people I talk about, it's about earning a good wage. They don't need to be a billionaire, but just having the freedom to do what they want when they want. That is one of the number one goals for 95% of the tradies that I talk with.
This is right. So let's take a look at the Loyal Team Builder and what you need to do to be able to find, hire and retain the best possible staff. There are 4 sections here, which are literally that: find, hire, train and retain. And this is all about building trust and loyalty with the team members that you bring on board. So no longer are you going to procrastinate about bringing someone or the right person actually into your business, because we're going to show you how you actually need to consider how you find those right people and to bring them in. It's important about how you train them and ensure that they, operate the way you want to, and critically, so that you keep them, because one of a huge expense is the fact that, perhaps you've lost a teammate. You spent these hours and hours training these guys, and then, so many months in, you decide that they're not the right person for you, or they decide that they're in the wrong job and they leave, and you think, oh my God, what a waste of time, what a waste of money. If I wish I'd just done this a better way. So we can show you a better way.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head there. It's not always about getting the best tradie. It's about you want the best tradie, but someone that's really going to fit within your team, someone that's really going to help your business grow and that can take on potentially that extra workload.
Yes.
and be able to leverage. But I think we talk a bit about that later on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So in saying that, let's take you through this particular triangle. Let's take you through the Loyal Team Builder step by step. And let's first look at the first section, which is all about find. Find is being ready. So you said it first, Andy. You actually said, be prepared in advance. So you said, if this builder knew he was wanted a new staff member in September, then he probably should have thought about this way in advance. So that's a perfect point. If you know that your busy time of year is that September, October, November kind of months like this builder was, then what should you or could you have done to be ready in advance? So if you knew that, you would have put your ad in the paper, as an example, like 2 months prior, or started putting the feelers out way in advance to ensure that you actually get the right person. So who is that right person?
Just to make a point there, it's like we talk a lot about knowing your numbers and forward forecasting. Well, you actually need to forward forecast with where your business is going with your staff as well. You need to make sure, as our business grows, what do we need, what roles do we need, and how do we want to go about that? And we talk about adopting technology and sometimes cutting staff. So that's all part of your forward forecast as well, knowing what you need to do so you know who you've got to hire and when.
Yeah, absolutely. So being ready is about you from a planning perspective. It's about, to your point, forward forecasting with your accountant when you know that you want to increase the turnover, and to be able to do that, it means you need more hands on deck. And then being able to say, when is it that I need that person, so that you can actually work backwards and think about who it is you actually want. Like, you need to know that in advance before you even try and actually put out an ad, as an example. Like, are you open to actually taking on an apprentice, or do they have to be a second or third year? Or in your mind, does it absolutely have to be a licensed tradie whereby you can actually walk away and leave them on job, and you know that you can trust them to be able to do that? So who is it that you actually are trying to bring into your business?
Yeah, it's critical to know exactly what you want, because as we said, you just jump the gun and grab whatever you can in the end. So if you want the best possible person for that job, then you really need to be out there looking for them and trying to find them and finding out. And as I said, these days you've got such a broad area, sometimes it's a matter of time. I mean, one of the biggest questions I get when I talk to tradies these days is I just can't find good staff. And the more that I talk to them, the more I realise they don't really look that hard.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of different ways. I mean, where do you find staff? Well, I suppose, you know, this day and age, you get on the internet and have a look at these job, you know, here at Seek, but wherever it is in your part of the world, where do you find these tradies? Where are they hanging out? What's going on? And it could be a local search engine, or it could be something that's all over your country or city. So. But how do you find them? You know, a lot of the times you can go to suppliers and talk to your local suppliers. You can maybe even put up a sign. You can have a chat with mates and friends. But overall, you just got to get out there, and you just got to get the resumes coming in so you can have a look and give yourself an opportunity. You know, if you've got 20 resumes in front of you, that's better than just bumping into some guy in the pub. Don't get me wrong, I know some people who employed the best guys ever from the pub, but a lot of the times they're more of a headache than it's worth.
Yeah, it's the reverse, like what we were saying, is have clarity around the type of person that you're after, so that you're not just employing any old guy that comes along that perhaps you've met in a pub and you go, in my head when I thought about the planning, I said to myself, well, I absolutely have to have a licensed plumber. And then you're down at the pub and you meet someone and he says, oh, I'm a third year. And now you've bent your own rules by going, oh, come on in, like you'll be so fine. You really can't do that. You've really got to stick to your guns, that if you've set that being ready about what it is you want to employ in your business, then that's really what you want. So say it was an apprentice that you're open to. We know a lot of tradies who have actually found people through their TAFE system, as an example. So they may already have a TAFE on board at the level that they're trying to find, so second or third year as an example, and they've said to them, so go, like you've obviously made friends at TAFE, so is there anyone in your mind who's actually in your class or in other classes that you know who would actually be a really good fit for our business and have the same morals and values as us, that you would honestly be okay with bringing them into the fold and, you know, opening that channel of conversation?
I think what you're trying to say is almost having talent scouts out there for you, you know, and what areas, where do these tradies hide? You know, where are they hiding these days?
Talent
so
scouts.
It's, you know, if you get the talent scouts out there at suppliers, whatever they are, and then give them a reward if they bring through the right person, and that's a real critical point.
Yeah, absolutely. So really important with respect to find, about knowing exactly what it wants, what it is you want, and being prepared for that. So you can even have like pre-written job descriptions, as an example, and ads ready to go into an online location or a newspaper in your local area, as an example. So you can actually prepare this information in advance, so that the day that you go, because if you, in your mind, if you say, I know I want staff in, 6 months' time, but I'm not ready to advertise just yet, it is a good idea to start prepping that information now, because the moment you say, I need to start organising that today, well, you're never going to get that ad in the paper today or that thing online today, because you've got so much work now ahead of you about trying to write that ad and doing all the research about what to say and writing the right advertisement. So
it's about preparation and planning. I mean, everything's about that in business, and you need to be obviously doing that.
Yes, absolutely. So let's have another look at the section of the Loyal Team Builder, which is respect to hire. So with hiring, it's critical to consider first impressions, not just first impressions that you are having of them, because obviously we judge, someone that's come in or you've met them at a cafe or whatever to actually have an interview, but be really critical and understand the fact that they actually are judging you. So they're considering you as an employer, and they're saying, they'll judge you from the way you show up, with what you're wearing, the way you speak to them, if you have eye contact, if you're confident, if they've actually come into your office.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.